çok açık et uyumu dارم یکیشون
It's day 35 of Israel's war, but the heat is on the United States. American assets and soldiers have been targeted again, this time in Iraq. At least 40 attacks have been reported so far. 56 US soldiers have been injured. Let's focus on the latest one, the latest attack. 3 separate strikes were confirmed on Thursday. The first was on a convoy. US and Iraqi troops were out on patrol near Mosul in Iraq. Their convoy was targeted with bombs. The vehicles were damaged, but no casualties. The other 2 attacks were on US bases, Al-Harir in Erbil and Ain al-Assad near Baghdad. Drones tried to hit American soldiers stationed there, but they were shot down. Now, most of these attacks have been low impact. Some have been near misses. But for how long? What if the next strike is a successful one? What if soldiers are killed? Then it's a whole different ballgame. Washington will likely respond with major force, and that is the worry. The US says Iranian proxies are behind these attacks, and officially Tehran denies this. They ask what proxies, but their foreign minister has talked about escalation. Listen to what he said. Due to the expansion of the intensity of the war against Gaza's civilian residents, expansion of the scope of the war has become inevitable. The expansion of the scope of the war has become inevitable, he says, and that's a scary assessment. Iran is one of the major players in this conflict. They think expansion is inevitable, and you cannot dismiss it as rhetoric. Iran has the resources and the clout to back it up. Just look at Yemen. It is home to an Iranian proxy group called the Houthis. On Thursday, they launched missiles at Israel. Buildings in the city of Eilat were hit.
By the grace of Allah, the operation has achieved its objectives successfully and resulted in direct hits on the specified targets, despite the enemy's silence about it. The Yemeni armed forces continue to carry out their military operations in support of the Palestinian people's just grievances until the Israeli aggression against our brothers in Gaza stops.
So to sum it up, Iranian proxies are attacking American soldiers in Iraq. Iran says a wider war is inevitable, and Yemen's Houthis are striking Israeli cities. It's a recipe for spillover. But is there a way out? Well, let's go back to the statements from Iran and the Houthis. Both had one thing in common. Iran blamed Israel's Gaza operation for the expansion risk. The Houthis said the attacks will continue until the aggression in Gaza stops, meaning Gaza is the key. So what's the situation there in Gaza? Israel struck the premises of 3 hospitals yesterday, Al-Shifa in Gaza City, the Indonesian hospital, and the Al-Nasser Children's Hospital. Look at the aftermath of the strikes on Al-Shifa. Thirteen people died at that hospital. Dozens more were wounded. Al-Shifa is the largest medical center in the Gaza Strip. It is treating thousands of civilians. So why is Israel targeting it? Well, their defense minister has an explanation. He says Hamas terrorists are holed up below Al-Shifa. Listen to this.
Those terrorists who are staying in the basements underneath Shifa Hospital tonight can hear the thundering sound of tank chains. The bulldozers that pound the ground, they can hear it underground. They hear it and tremble with fear.
We can't be certain of that because Israel is yet to provide any proof, but we will say one thing. Patients at Al-Shifa are caught in the crossfire and their condition is beyond horrible. Surgeries are being done without anesthetics, and that too on children.
As a father, I wished I would never have to hear my daughter cry like that. It makes my heart suffer. Her cries, I was scared that the pain would make her lose conscience, die, or that something would happen to her, because this is considered a small surgery.
There is some hope, though. Israel has agreed to humanitarian pauses. 2 evacuation corridors will be opened. They can be used to move from northern Gaza to the south. But not all the time. The pauses will last only for 4 hours every day. During this time, people can head south and aid can move north. Now, don't mistake this for a ceasefire. A ceasefire is a complete stoppage of military operations. Israel has not committed to that. In fact, they will carry out airstrikes even during the pauses. Only the corridor areas will be exempt. It's not enough to end the suffering, but it is something. We also have more clarity on Israel's objectives in Gaza. Earlier, Benjamin Netanyahu hinted at occupying the Gaza Strip, that too for an indefinite time. But now he's clarified those remarks. Prime Minister Netanyahu says he's not interested in governing Gaza.
We don't seek to govern Gaza. We don't seek to occupy it, but we seek to give it and us a better future in the entire Middle East. I've set goals. I didn't set a timetable because, it can take more time. I wish it'll take little time. But we're proceeding step by step, reducing our casualties in the process, trying to reduce and minimize civilian casualties and maximize the casualties of the Hamas terrorists.
So no timetable. Netanyahu says the war will go on as long as it takes. It's a worrying prospect because things are heating up in the West Bank as well. Israeli forces raided Jenin on Thursday. Around 18 Palestinians were killed. It was the worst violence in months. Israel is also demolishing homes in Hebron. That's another city in the West Bank. So the risk for Israel is obvious. The more they attack Gaza, the higher the risk of escalation. From the West Bank, from Yemen, from Lebanon, and from Syria. So Netanyahu may talk about a war without timetable, but he needs to wrap this up fast.